Well, good evening everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another stream to be Overthunk by Sharky. We are back in Minecraft once more, after what has been basically a whole month, I think. Good evening, Katooth. Thanks for tuning in. Yes, the reports of our death have been greatly exaggerated. I can assure you that Skeevers and I are still very much kicking around here. We've had a lot going on over the last month, so it's been a little bit of a challenge to find time to pop onto Twitch and do a bit of streaming, but we're going to see if we can at all remember how to play Minecraft. And the first thing that I'm realizing is I haven't even remembered how to set up the stream correctly. It's been that long. I thought, what do I need? I need a map of the world, so I've got that ready, but then I've completely forgotten about all my Twitch overlays and things. So I'm going to have to go and find those real quick, because I haven't even got that set up. Let me see. Hunting around files here, stalling while I look for things. That's the wrong thing. That was Minecraft. That's already open. That's what I want. Overlay. Let's open this and see what happens. Anything can happen here. Yeah, that seems to be alright. So what if we push this button? Does that do a thing? It does! Aha! Okay, so that brings the overlay up. Great. Well, let's get into the game and then we'll worry about that. Where has everything gone? Minecraft is back over there now. Single player. Bam. Alright. Look at that. I love how the world just loads in like that. There you go. World generation complete. Well, almost, right? We're still missing a lot of roads and networky things. It's fun seeing all that kind of laid out like that now. It feels like there's really a lot of life to the build. It's not just a giant flat bit of grass and dirt. There's sort of at least a little bit of semblance of something going on here. Which is kind of fun. Something I want to test out immediately before I completely forget about this. So, you may or may not have noticed this. You probably have, but every time I click away from here to go over to the map or something, the game pauses, because of course focus has left the window, so I can check on the map and do various things and then come back, and then I've got to get back into the game. And I've combated that sometimes by like popping open like the inventory, because then I can just tab out to other windows and the game doesn't lose focus, because the inventory window for some reason keeps focus on things. Well, apparently it's just a setting that you can turn on and off. There's a load of F3 settings. It says right in the very bottom here, right here, for help press F3 plus Q. Apparently the one I'm looking for right there, right there, F3 plus P, pause on lost focus. You can just disable that setting, and this will make tabbing a whole lot easier. I've also forgotten how much time I'm supposed to add. Is it 12,000 ticks? Looks like it. Okay, that's good. I'm nearly gonna do 20,000 then, but no, it must be 12,000. So yeah, F3 plus P. So pause on lost focus disabled. Okay, so that means when I tab out to another window, yeah, there you go. I'm in another window now. I'm in my maps, and then when I click back into the game, there you go, back in the game. All right, wow, that's going to make things so much nicer. I'm not going to have to be constantly getting out of menus and stuff. All right, so, well, what are we even doing? It's been like a month. I feel like I should put the overlay up. That'll tell us what we're supposed to be doing, right? So, there it is. Did that work? I'm watching on delay. There we go. It did work. So, although I don't know why I am, because I can just tab between things now. Perfect. Place down some of the major roads and highways and things. That is our objective at the moment. And I seem to recall last time we'd kind of made a bit of a plan. We sort of started a little bit in New South Wales, Victoria, and sort of did them both together. and went out from there. And I think we said maybe next time that we should follow these roads up into Queensland, and then I crossed to Northern Territory and then down to South Australia, then into Western Australia. Maybe? I think that was the natural progression of kind of like where the major roads and stuff were going. So we've already got like a couple of bits where roads have like started to try and cross the border. This impossible border that is terribly inaccurate, but we'll try not to let that get to us. It's a real shame that we've got the landscape, like we've got the terrain border so close to being accurate. Like there are some places where it's really not accurate as well, but it's such a shame that we've got the border so close to being block accurate, but then having like the borders and the roads like just completely haphazard. But again, I'm just going to keep blaming this on the spherical geometry of the world and the flat landscape that is Minecraft. So let's jump down here. Ooh, Pigoo. Look at that landing. Didn't touch the ground. Amazing. So we've got a bunch of sort of connectives here and stuff. What have we got? Let's remember where we're going. We've got Burke and a road sort of leading up into Queensland from there. No fall damage. Yeah, well, creative mode, that's true. But also no fall damage because we've got hover mode engaged, apparently. Yep, Moree, and then duck it up into there. This kind of crossroad here, which is just heading up that way anyway. Yep, that's right, Grafton here, Byron Bay just before the border, and then up into here. So we should at least probably continue straight up the coast initially. Send this up here. And looking at things we're using, yeah, grey concrete. I don't think we never used grey concrete powder for anything in the end, did we? We toyed around with it, because we had like powdery sort of, stuff. What's this? Oh, this is just sand. Red sand, yeah. But we toyed around with the texture of powder, but I think we settled on the solid grey concrete for roads. So let's bring the map up and let me have a little bit of a look. What even are these roads? Oh. And what is it roughly doing? Yeah. So this road through Byron, sort of past Byron Bay here, has got to go up and it's got to effectively connect behind the Gold Coast and head into Brisbane. And we've got all these other bits of roads here. Just looking at an appropriate zoom level on my map. Whoop, it's way too close. That one there. Okay. So I can do this now. I can fiddle around in the other screen and you've got no idea that I'm doing stuff over there because Minecraft just appears unresponsive. Alright. So just doing this really roughly. As this cuts through the border, it's supposed to be kind of near the coast. So have we crossed the border yet? Like, we go on the border, don't we? Like we put blocks on the border. We sort of haven't here. That's a town. Yeah, we have. Yeah, we can go straight through a border. Yeah. That's allowed. Some of them are towns on borders, so it's just a bit harder to tell. Okay. So, cutting through the border, like that, we're just going to come up like this here. And this is going to just sort of head up into Brisbane. Like that. Okay, so we've got ourselves into Brisbane from in the south. This next one that's crossing through here, I can see what that is on the map. It's sort of got a lot of nothing specific going on. It's coming straight up through. It is going to kind of snake its way up to Toowoomba. I'm assuming that's Toowoomba that we've got up here. It is. That makes sense. So Toowoomba, as it connects into Brisbane, like, it's basically straight across, to within a little bit of fluctuation. So this road from Toowoomba into like the greater Brisbane area, basically straight across. That sort of thing. Worst traffic in the country. I haven't been to the entire country, but I'll take your word on that. So that sort of goes across to here, and this is like making its way up to Toowoomba. It does some weird snaky stuff. And in fact, if I look real close into the map there, it crosses the border, yeah, and then it comes incredibly super close to literally kissing the border again as it bends around, which makes for a real nice sort of effect that's happening there. So if we go up there, Gold Coast to Brisbane. Ah, right. Gold Coast to Brisbane. All right, I'll remember that for the next time that that we find ourselves having to travel that strip of road there. Worst traffic in the country. All right. Is that because of just like the infrastructure doesn't really support the level of traffic, or there's just so much traffic there, or is there something about Gold Coast Brisbane drivers that make it for a terrible traffic experience? So this can effectively just come straight through here, really. It's going to mess the border a little bit. Maybe I should like step around it or something, but yeah, because this kisses the border here, like it basically does, and it does like a little bit of a wibble wobble up here. Whoop! Oh dear, lost some dirt and everything. Getting real out of practice with me clicking. I'll even go a bit back that way just to put a little bit of life into this. There we go. Just so it's not completely straight. It doesn't really bend in that much, but it does sort of bend around a bit. So that's up to there at Toowoomba. This next one over here, so what one was this? This is Moree. So where's Moree? Oh, there's Moree. Okay, so yeah, we've got a lot of complex roads and things, like depending upon our level of zoom. We get some real stuff going on here, like, you know, you can hit Goondiwindi as it crosses the border and all sorts of stuff going on here. But we're just gonna duck across and get up to there. And you know, we've got like a lot of connective stuff in New South Wales. I feel like it's going to be awkward because when they have like way more density of like road networks in New South Wales and Victoria, it's purely because I'm just more familiar with things here. And as we get up into Queensland, I'm going to have to start making decisions about which of these like connective bits are that important, because we've only got a couple of like towns and cities throughout here. We don't have huge amounts of stuff like New South Wales seems to be packed with. So we've got to kind of make sure we prioritize roads and things that basically connect to our places. So if that's coming out of Moree, which is there, we're sort of heading up diagonally through there. As that crosses the border, that does a bunch of different things. Like, we've got some stuff that diagonally cuts straight over to Toowoomba, so we might as well do that. Sort of thing, doing a little bit of that kind of thing. That sort of thing there. Maybe actually we do that. Yeah. Oh, there's a bit of ambience pouring in there. Alright, so that kind of does that. Just so many cars and trucks. It's huge, wide, straight, 4 lanes each way for ages, and it's still not enough. Wow. So, okay, so it is just a matter of the sheer amount of sort of thoroughfare happening there. Okay, okay, that's fair. So we've got this. What have we even got inland? Like, what are we ultimately connecting to? Like, we've got stuff way up here, but we miss a lot of things. So I need some big picture context. What's this up here that we're ultimately heading towards? Oh, this is Longreach. Okay. So where's Longreach? There. Okay. Okay, and we had Rockhampton, didn't we? Yep, there's Emerald, there's Rockhampton. Right, right. So we're going to need to do a bit of this to give us some context on how to connect up to here, I think. So we're gonna do things a little bit out of order, because this is basically a straight road. Longreach to Emerald is basically a straight road. In fact, they are on the same Z, aren't they? That's a where am I even looking? 175. That's 175. So I can literally do a straight road between these. If I was smarter, I would just do a copy, paste, clone, fill something to do this section. But if I'm being honest, it's been so long since I've done that now that I don't want to accidentally mess something up. Because I'm not sure I have backups of this world. I mean, I probably do, in the sense that there might be automatic backups of the world save, but I've not gone out of my way to make a manual backup of anything. So that's probably not a good thing. I mean, there's a tiny wobble in this road. Not huge. There is a slightly more substantial wobble in the road from Emerald to Rockhampton, if for no other reason than the fact that it's a tiny bit up at the end there. It's basically straight, but then it curls a tiny bit down and then up. So it's like, whereabouts are we? We're coming up on things there. So it's going to go, like, you know, down a little bit, and then sort of like that. Okay. Zip. That sort of thing. That gets us into Rockhampton. So that, of course, will be our coastal road all the way down to here and stuff. So we'll do that in a sec, but just a bit of context for the middle of things. So from Longreach out to Emerald, so Emerald has this wibbly wobbly road that's taken it straight down through a bunch of stuff. It's going to a lot of places that we don't sort of go to. It's going through Roma, it's going through St. George, it's crossing the border, it's going down a Lightning Ridge, which is over here somewhere. It's between Burke and Moree. So if we're coming out of Moree, as Moree crosses the border, this bit here fractures into a bit that's going across over there to Toowoomba, but then also a bit that's continuing straight up with a little bit of wibbly wobbly, and it makes its way up to Rockhampton up here. So let's do that. As we sort of draw up to Brisbane, it does duck out to the side a little bit. Just the ever so tiniest bit. Comes back in. And, you know, once we get up past Sunshine Coast and stuff, which is still a while away, I feel like that could have been higher, actually. Yeah, that's a bit better. Once we get up past Sunshine Coast, so decent bit more here. Yep, so we're drawing up level to Sunshine Coast now. Incredibly straight road. Yep, so once we get up sort of past Sunshine Coast, it's going to bend left a bit. annoyingly. Not enough that it gets over to emerald. So we can't go too far. I'm just going to start pulling over to Rockhampton. Oh, what have I done there? That one there, that one there. Okay, something like that. It's a bit weird, but it's fine. So that does that crossing there, and that takes us up through there. Now, we've got a lot of other options in the middle that we can start to map out if we really wanted to. Like this one from Burke. It's got to sort of make its way ultimately. Where's Longreach? Is this Longreach over here? Wait. Is that Longreach there? Where's Burke? Well, that's not right. Longreach is further west than Burke. It can't be there. I do not like that at all. Huh. Okay, we're gonna have to move one or more of these. Let me check how far apart things are. Distance measure. So Emerald should be something like 24 blocks across from Rockhampton City, and then Longreach should be like 40 blocks, I guess, across from there. So that means that should be like 25 blocks there and like 40 blocks there. So what are we looking at? We're looking at an X of like about 400-ish. Yeah, that's like 22 or something. But from here, this is like 380-ish. 340-ish, so that's like about 40. So they're both a little bit on the short side. They should definitely be extended more. So Emerald, I would have said, is not in line. And we need to add a bit more time on there. Whoop! Oh no! We've dropped a block! That's never happened before. So this is Moree, exactly. So here's Moree. Emerald's got to be like above Lightning Ridge, which is like right over here as it starts to bend down. So Emerald's going to have to move right across. This could have been solved if you made Australia in Portal instead of Minecraft. Oh dear. Yeah, maybe that's the evolution of Overthunk by Sharky. We're just gonna proceed to make Australia in increasingly weirder games. You know, like the does it run Quake kind of trend. It'll become but can you create Australia within it? We'll make Australia in Minecraft. We'll make Australia in Portal. We'll make Australia in Chips Challenge. Easy. So, I think what we've learnt here is Emerald needs to move. Let me get this and this. Emerald's got to be more in line with like where this is dipping down here. Sort of this territory of things. Emerald's got to be more over here somewhere. Okay. What about the vertical stuff up here? Emerald's got to be near. Is this Mackay over here? Oh, it's Townsville City. Oh. Oh. Really? That's Mackay there. Is this perhaps not around enough? Ooh, because my next thing is, in the Queensland side of things, well, yeah, Emerald's like a tiny bit east of this. So if anything, it's actually got to be more like here, somewhere. You know, because ultimately a road that's going to go up there is going to duck out west a bit, and then it's going to hook back in. So we've kind of got to be a little bit east of it, even if it should be more east than that. But that's enough to move Emerald across to about there, which is what we're moving it like, you know, 9-10 blocks there, which means this should move like, you know, 15 to 20 blocks that way to preserve things. It's got to be like well past Burke. What else have we got over here for reference? Not much. That's Broken Hill, isn't it? Yeah, that's Broken Hill. So we're definitely not over Broken Hill territory. Nowhere near that. But as far as Burke's concerned, we're going to have to be like, you know, definitely over here somewhere. Like, so this is at 343 with the 175. So 343, 320 something. Like, you know, like there. That feels a bit more acceptable given that Burke's over there. Okay, I can get behind that. So this is Longreach Quilland. Now, can I? Oh, I can. Can I? Oh. When I try to copy text, it looks like it's only going to copy the single line. Can't copy multiple lines. Well, I'm going to try to, but it's not going to work. Longreach Quilled. So, paste. Yeah. Longreach Quilled. Oh, what have I done? Oh, what have I done? Wasn't paying any attention. Okay. So now that's grass, replacing grass with grass. Okay, and now that means that Emerald Quilled can also go over here now. Hopefully we don't have this sort of a disaster all over the country. I feel like it's probably confined to Queensland because of Queensland's weird borders and the fact that this was like one of the last places we did. I think, maybe. But anyway, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So, all that aside, so let me get rid of those distances now. Clear the distance measurements. So, take F3 back off. So, I was coming out of Burke to start making our way up to things, because this doesn't go straight to Longreach. It's going to connect in early, but it's also a wibbly wobbly road again. So we're gonna cross the border, and we'll just go up until we're sort of at the Gold Coast, which we're sort of already at the Gold Coast. We're gonna start slowly tucking in. We've got to get back past Burke, sort of almost past halfway to Emerald. So we've got to tuck in for a bit. So I might just sort of go by threes arbitrarily. We should be like tucked in at our peak when we're past the Sunshine Coast, which is right about there. It's at that white block that's sort of there. And we've got to be like more than halfway to Emerald. So in fact, 3's too many. We want to be going across by like 2's. It does sort of speed up a little bit towards the end, so maybe I can speed up now and just go by 2s for a bit. So we are well at the point now where we should be starting to come back in. This is fine. So it's going to go straight up for a bit. Then we're going to have a little... Oh, there's the end of that rain. So it sort of goes up for a bit, and then it's going to like suddenly duck across a bit. And then it's going to run basically straight up. There we go. Just something like that. Very arbitrary. Somewhere in there it hits that. Should be closer to long reach than emerald, and it is. And that looks something like it does on the map. Probably could be a bit further across. That's probably actually too close to long reach. But it's good enough. It's good enough. So that sort of gets us there. We've got these main long bits here. This one at Emerald has got a road running straight down that would connect through into here. So we might do that. It's going to cross over the border and go into here. Give us a T-junction sort of passing through Lightning Ridge and going down to here. It's that sort of bottom bit of where it ducks down. A connected road into there. So we might do that downward one coming out of Emerald. It's going to equally come sort of straight down for a while. But then it's going to have to duck over to the coast a little bit all of a sudden. Kind of around about the same time that that does its business. Duck over the coast this way. And then sort of comes back a bit. But it's still across a tiny bit. Yep, that's fine. It's got some little wibbly wobblies and stuff as it goes down, but by and large, you know, it's going to go down. Before we get to the Sunshine Coast, and so after we get past that bit out there, oops, sun's going down. Sun's come back up. Let's just make it like super straight. So we're past here. It does a little bit of an inland kick, briefly. And comes back out. Alright. And then as we're going down sort of past Brisbane, past the Gold Coast, it's going to start pulling across. So we're coming down here. I'm doing this upside down on the map. Ooh, there we go. There's one that I've only just seen. Time to get rid of them. Wow, account created 2013. That's super old. Cannot find the block button. There it is. How is that like a spam bot that's been around for 12 years? It's got all these badges too. It's almost like it was someone's real account and is now turned into a spam bot. Anyway. Whoop. Clicking on weird things. So, you're just going past Sunshine Coast there. There's a little bit of a hook back out again. the ambience music, and then it's time to start making our way across. Whoop. Stolen account, perhaps. Yeah, it might have been an account that's been since hacked and is now just a spam account. Like, it's probably plausible that someone made an account 12 years ago, 2013, on Twitch, and like they stopped using it, years ago, and it's just been dormant since then, and now it's been just used as a spam account by hackers or something. This is gonna go across and cross the border slightly beside where it connects, but we're a bit late for that. Maybe if we go back a tad, back to there, cross the border here. Like that. Okay, so that runs us up through there. So there's Lightning Ridge down here somewhere, and it comes around up there, goes through to that with all these really creative, like, little elbows and wobbles and things here. Like, it all looks very, very exciting, as opposed to just a flat major highway that just runs across there. Oh dear, I have to have a sip of water for that. Alright, in terms of other bits of roads and things that's going on here, we don't have like the towns in the middle here, but if I'm coming out of Toowoomba, so I've gone from Brisbane out to Toowoomba, there's kind of this southwest one here, but there's also a northwest one coming out that's going to just like be a little transversal to cut through these for a bit, and ends up coming over to here, this one that's come out of Burke. So, kind of in line with the Sunshine Coast. If anything, a block above it, maybe. But somewhere about here, let's say. There's a little bit of connective here. That's going to run like across through these. Basically straight. It does duck down a tiny bit as it gets closer to things. Let's say as it gets above Lightning Ridge-ish, yeah, it's ducked down by one more maybe. Whoa, what are we doing there? Yeah, and we're gonna cross here. I'm gonna bring that in by one, just because I think that's gonna look a little bit weird. We're gonna come through here. As we get to the next one, it's gonna maybe move down one more. Alright. And then as we come out the other side of this, it's going to continue along. Oh. And then basically do a diagonal cut down to there. So, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that sort of thing. Okay, so that's our connective coming out of Toowoomba that just cuts through all of these. There's a fun little bit that happens here. A little triangle, and I might do it. Right as we hit the bottom of there, it triangles back down to here somewhere. For no good reason, but it does. I mean, I'm sure there's a good reason, but being a little bit harsh about this. You know, like that. Literally. Alright. Okay, that's looking good. That's getting all those border crossings. That's sort of getting all their connections as they go up there. This road stops there. There's a little bit more density of stuff over here. Like, the closer you get to Brisbane, there is actually a lot more, like, littly bits here, but I don't know that we need to go to that level of detail. Like, this bit here that cuts up to Toowoomba. There's another one that comes out even below this that goes through here, cuts through here, and comes up underneath Brisbane up there. Maybe we also do that, really, just because it's there. It adds a little bit more density to what's going on. So this bit here that splits out as we cross the border here. Yeah, I'm talking myself into it already. It's tricky because I want to do that. Going to do something crazy like that because I don't want too much going on here, so that I can come out of that. That sort of thing. And this is going to go along and just sort of cut kind of levelish with the Gold Coast, a tiny bit below. You know, that's it, one below the Gold Coast, that's fine. And then as it comes out, this is ultimately going to connect to sort of in there. This part of Brisbane up there, so we're going to come across. Like that. There we go. Something like that. Okay, just another little connector that runs through there. Just so we got options. Okay. Alright. That's looking good. That's getting the sort of similar density of stuff around the capital as what's happening with Sydney and Melbourne now. Like, I feel like that's better representing the stuff that's coming out through things here. Yeah, that's got a nicer sort of feel there. Let's add a bit of time back on. We're going to have to finish this coast here that we've been like fully neglecting. So in terms of roads out of the north end of Brisbane, obviously this is Sunshine Coast here, and this is taking us all the way up to Rockhampton here. So we're going to have to just come straight out top end of Brisbane here. Just like that. Just come out the top of things. As we get up to here, the road starts to duck in a little bit before we get up to this sort of land effect here. It almost goes across a little bit. Yeah. Basically, I'm just keeping it back from the landscape, really. Back from the coastline. it gets close to the coast for a point up here. Comes into Rockhampton from underneath like that, and then from there we've got to get all the way up to Mackay through coming out the top end of Rockhampton. So like that, we get real close to the water edge there, and we stay sort of close to it up here. In fact, we get to within like blocks of it here. Like that sort of thing. Okay, we get up to it there, and we're going to come out of it there. So that's Townsville up there. And basically we just stick right at the coast. You know, it's effectively the coastal road. Yeah. Closer than it was before, as close as it was with Sunshine Coast and Brisbane. So we can kind of do that sort of stuff. Follow the coast through here. Through there into Townsville. And then I'm going to have to scroll my map, which I haven't had to do yet. So that's obviously Cairns. Up there. So as we come out of Townsville... It's because there's no blocks under there. Yeah, when I break those I've got nothing to click on. So again, it sort of sticks with the coast. For a while. Sort of thing. Take the coast up there, it comes up into Cairns. Right. And we've got nothing else sort of further up and about. That was like the highest part of that we had. But in terms of these places up here, Townsville has a connector that's going to end up eventually taking us over. This is Mount Isa. It is. Perfect. So we've got to get from Mount Isa to Longreach and all sorts of things. So Mount Isa is going to have a effectively straight road. Let me get all of that on the map together. Effectively a straight road that begins to bend down a little bit just before we get to Longreach. Another one of these famous North Queensland east-west straight roads. This one is by far the least straight of all of them, though, according to the zoomed-out view of the map. So we've had a little bit of a down thingo that's coming along. By the time we get to Burke, it's going to start coming back up. So Burke, I believe, is there, which again makes me feel like this should be further across, but anyway. Yep, so by the time we're about here, this should be hooking its way back up now. Once we kind of get to... So here's triangle territory. Yeah, once we start getting to triangle territory, this is where it starts to more rapidly pick up. Starts to go quite straight for a while. Once we get to about here, then it starts to flatten out a little bit, for basically coming straight up in. Like that. Okay. I like it. That feels realistic. So it comes straight across, ducks down a little bit, and then speeds up a bit, and then sort of hooks back and then straight up in. That's going to allow us to make a connective down to Emerald and a connective from Longreach. So the Emerald one is the more straightforward of the two. There's another one already. This account was created yesterday. So that's a more, that smooth tableau, that's a more realistic kind of spam bot, that one. So let's see, as we come out of here, we're going to keep heading up for a smidge, and then we're going to start hooking across. So we need to come out of here, head up a little bit, and then just sort of start coming across a bit, just steadily. And then we'll sort of pick up the... Oh, let's add a bit more time on. Pick up the pace a little bit now. Across there. Alright, so that's a little bit faster now. And then... So we're getting up to that speedy bit there. So we've done 3 there. So we've got... that's coming across. We're going to have to get a bit more vertical. One there. Skeevers is just stopping by to check that I've taken our Sulo bins out to the front road, which is good remembering, because it wouldn't be the first time that we have forgotten to do that. I've lost track of what I'm doing here. It just sort of curves out here as we're heading up north. It does speed up a little bit all of a sudden, like it sort of does a bit of that, and then it just goes sort of straight for a while. Like that. Okay. So, not the nicest one, but, you know, smooth average of what's going on there. As for Longreach, though, its connective bit, it's a more complex journey, this one. somewhere about there in the landscape, it's going to have gone up at a pretty decent 45. Then there's a little bit of a flat. Then it's like up and across and over that way there. So we're going to come out of here with a reasonable 45 for a bit. Then it's just going to go flat for a bit. Then we're going to get sort of some up like this. And then like a little bit of sort of flat like that. And it almost goes back down a bit. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm looking at the wrong part of the map. Oh, I am. That doesn't connect into Mount Isa City at all. Ooh, that's awkward. That connects before Mount Isa. Ah, dear. Where's Broken Hill? It connects. Ooh, now this will be telling. Where's Mount Isa compared to the border bit? Alright. It connects just after we've gone past this corner. Somewhere by about here it should have connected. Yeah? So we've got to change the speed of this entirely. I was aiming for the wrong target, so I did things at the wrong speed. So after we come out here and we do our little sort of flattening off for a bit, let's just do that and just give myself a bit of fresh perspective there. So we do a bit of that for a bit, and we do some like that for a bit. Sort of like that. Okay. The problem was that Mount Isa, as it's marked on Google Maps, it says Mount Isa City, and as a result, it's quite long. And on the zoom level, there's a dot here for Mount Isa, and then the name Mount Isa City spans from here to here. So when I was looking on the map, I thought that this connective point here was where Mount Isa was, because that's where the name reached to, but the dot's on the other end of the name. So I was misreading where that connection was actually supposed to be. So it's actually got to connect there. And you know what? There is a bit of a dead end road here that does continue through there. Takes us up to like about here and then just peters out. So I might actually just do that. There's a bit of creative road that just sort of continues through here. Something like that. Again, it's fairly ill-defined. Wow. Apart from that little warped bit at the end, which I deliberately did, That's almost a nice sort of arc through there. Kind of fancy. Alright, so that's that bit of just random road there. Now, is this Birdsville? It better be. Well done, bird. Excellent. Because that connects to Mount Isa and then heads into South Australia. You know, right there. So we should definitely do that, because all the rest of this is sort of sorted. Just looking at what else we've got in Queensland. Yeah, so I think on the whole, like, there's another little bit that comes out of Long Reach, but that's fine. It just sort of again piddles down here and just kind of dies off. But I need to connect Mount Isa down here, and I need to send Mount Isa 1 up so that it can tuck into Northern Territory. So we'll do this connection down here to Birdsville to Mount Isa, then we'll track up in there, and that'll have Queensland done. Then we can move into Northern Territory with the one road that enters the Northern Territory. So, Birdsville, again, basically going to be straight for the most part. It's gonna come out. We're gonna duck in a little bit. And we're gonna come back a bit. Once we get up to Long Reach and that whole road, Long Reach and Emerald and Rockhampton and all that kind of stuff, what have we done by that point? We've ducked out, we've come back in, and we're on our way to ducking out to the side again. So we've ducked out, we've come back in, and we've hit like a patch of dirt now. And then I'm going to do like a weird sort of, before we get up to this bit of road here, we're going to have done like a little weird out and around, best as I can describe it. That sort of thing. It sort of doesn't really capture the real extent of it. It kind of rounds it a bit differently. But, you know, it's more or less what's going on there. And then when we cross over the border, so I'm looking at what are our places here for reference. This is obviously Davenport. Yes. This is Tennant Creek, which is just below where this road hits, annoyingly. So just so that I can get my orientation of all of these set, Alice Springs has a north-south road through it. Davenport has a north-south road through it. Tennant Creek has a north-south road through it, but it's just below, and by just 25, 26 k's, let's say 2 blocks below. Two blocks below the connection here. So the border crossing is still below Tennant Creek, but only just. So border crossing might be like about here. Which I'll do like that, just so that we're not getting too close to that grid line there. That's our border crossing, and we have to get up to there. So we're going to get from Mount Isa, coming straight out the top. And then flat for a bit. And up. And flat. And up. Like that. Okay. More or less. Kind of good enough. Alright. So, as this comes through and up into here, this has a little bit of a wibbly wobbly. It's going to go down a smidge. And then riding up, gets a tiny bit higher than where it connects so that it can come back down in. So, this is going to come through for a bit. Then down for a smidge. Nearly. Kind of like that. Not too bad. Not too bad. Could be better. But not too bad, if I'm being honest. So that's completed Queensland. Queensland is done. We're into Northern Territory. So now we should do the straight up bit of Northern Territory to connect into Western Australia, and the straight down bit to connect into South Australia. So just taking in what we've got here and zooming back out again. So that's obviously Alice Springs there. Is that Yalara over there? Oh, again, floating. It is Yalara. That's not actually on my main road. That's on, like, minor roads, which is gonna be a pain. But we can figure that out. Maybe this is where we swap to some gravel road. There is definitely some real sort of light gravelly roads through here. when we zoom right in, there's all sorts of little tiny roads here. Maybe we'll do that afterwards. Fill in like the really minor roads. No, you take a little turn off to get there. Yeah. No, I'm looking down below on my other map here. Looking down below Alice Springs, we get down to Garn, and you turn heading down south. Come to Garn, you can turn right, and you go off into these little roads and things. I mean, they got highway numbers on them, but they're not huge numbers. And it weaves through here. Just like the major towns with 500 people, the major roads here might be dirt tracks. Yeah, Darwin to Adelaide Road really is the only major road. Exactly, yeah, like that's the one road on the map, as it were. But yeah, just so that the whole place here isn't just a void, you might have to come back in and do a second pass of roads and put in some of the minor roads through here, which might mean that there's actually room for more minor roads in Queensland to connect to some of these other bits, and maybe even in New South Wales. Like, yeah. And so that's where we might go to like this grey concrete powder or something, or like packed dirt or something, to kind of highlight sort of these back roads a bit more. But we'll find blocks for that in due time. The point is, we've got this run. The Davenport straight up is literally just vertical, like that. That weaves in the slightest amount, so we can just get that done. As for Alice Springs here, slightly more creative path, in that it's going to duck out here. Need to come in sooner. Let's make that one there. Like that. Tell you what, let's seed a bit of grass here. Seeing as though this is all just dirt. Add a bit of time back on. Alright, so we'll deal with coming out of Alice Springs in a second down the bottom. Well, I say that, but we could literally just go to the border right here. Coming out of Alice Springs. Like, for context. Ice Capiti. So, that's way over there, that's fine. So we're going across, and then we're doing a little wiggle, and so it goes across sort of as far as this goes across here, as we're coming out of this. And then it basically stays straight for almost the whole way here. Once we're sort of out to that, tiny wobble by one block, and then back in as we cross the border. Just a little right as we go over. Okay, so that's done all of that. So now we just got to get from there up to Brisbane via Catherine and ultimately Humpty Doo. Good old Humpty Doo. So this road coming out of the top of Tennant Creek here, and like This really is all that it is. It's just slowly making its way up there, and then when we sort of get to that point, when we sort of get up here, up to being in line with here, that sort of part of the water, that's where it like really kicks across. So it's going up, and it's slowly got the leans. Like it's up, it's across a bit. Sort of thing. Yeah, and by this point, it starts, it hooks all of a sudden. It's almost like it does a literal bend. I want to try and graduate that a little bit more. That's a little bit severe. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty realistic. It does really have that sudden hook there. That's a bit better. And it is kind of in line with that. Yep. So, from Catherine, we've got two paths. One that's going to shoot down there, and one that's going to head up to Brisbane. Head up to Darwin, excuse me. And where's Humpty Doo? We effectively pass through Humpty Doo. Like, we sort of don't. We sort of do. Yeah, it just depends what you consider to be the wider Humpty Doo region. Alright. So we're coming out of Catherine. We come across. So we're kind of coming out 45 angle here. Go out for a while. Then come across a bit more. Out of Humpty Doo and into Darwin. I'll even put one there. There we go. And that's that. That's the road into Darwin. Really, the road comes in like above Darwin. So if I'm doing this properly, it probably actually does that. Really. Okay, and then Catherine is going to come out and is going to cross over here. Now, we've got like nothing over here for reference. But the crossing over here is somewhat arbitrary. I could probably map it against all of this funny coastline over here. That's there. Around here. Probably almost where I'm looking, if I'm being honest. Probably about here. Somewhere about here, yeah. Just arbitrarily. There. That's the border crossing. It's a bit funny getting it up to Catherine. It ducks down a little bit. Pause for a quick drink. Alright. So it ducks down a bit, comes back a bit. Then it goes down for a smidge. And we're going to have just a straight, like, southwest bit hooking up into Catherine. From the south, it's going to go basically diagonal for a while. Sort of, we're making our way up to there. So, down, flat. Like that. Okay. Yep, that's that connective. Across there. Down and up and into there. Yep, okay. Right, so... South Australia's got more going on because it's got more connections to make. I feel like the sensible thing to do is actually to continue into Western Australia from here. Look how much we've already done. We just had these two at the start. We've now gone up and done all this. We've branched across into here. Let me look at Australia on the big view. Yeah, there's like one big road that goes across the top of Western Australia, splits into two. One stays on the coast, one cuts through the middle. They both converge effectively at Perth, its capital, where again, one follows the coast around the bottom, one cuts straight through the middle, sort of reconnects and things, and then shoots back across to be the one crossing into South Australia. And then in South Australia we've got like just a couple of things that converge, and then plug back into New South Wales and Victoria in 2 or 3 places. So, yep, I say we continue going around the top, and then we come back and then we plug all these connections here. That makes the most sense to me. So let me have a little bit of a look. A little bit of a look-see. So this is obviously Broome. That'll be Port Hedland. There are kind of reference points. I might even start from Port Hedland and work back up that way. I tend to find working south to north easier, at least because it's upright. I can kind of follow the bearing of the map a bit more. So we come out of here and we effectively stick with the coast. Broome, which is this really weird island bit here. Let me have a look at how this happens. How does this happen? Yeah, it sticks out on this bit here. And of course the road doesn't actually go to it. The road goes awkwardly beside it, because there's a little tiny minor road that takes us there. So as we continue up, whoops, as we continue up the coast here, we're going to make our way sort of up here. Oh, we hook past Broome, and there's like a dirt road connecting that, as it were. There's like a low-level road there. This will continue sort of like this. At some point, it's going to hook down. Now, where that is, again, relative to a lot of things. There's not a lot out here. It's like knobbies. Yeah, exactly. It just kind of hangs off the edge there. That's gonna keep going across a little bit like that. And somewhere about, so yeah, somewhere about here, it's going to take a little bit more of a rapid drop. And then as we get up sort of a line with here, it's going to start going up, and then it's going to, right before we get to this bit, it's going to almost go vertical for a bit. So what am I doing? Something like that. Alright. That sort of thing. More or less. More or less. It's not perfect. A little bit exaggerated in parts. But again, it's the basic shape. Hooks up a little bit, gradually, and then sort of does a bit of a drop. And then it has this base that's sort of here. And then sort of steeply comes up and then shoots up for a bit and then goes across. It's got a bit more of a wiggle in the middle here that I haven't captured. And then overshoots and comes back in. Right. So that's kept that going into Western Australia, which means if we check out what's happening around Port Hedland, because again, it's got a little bit of interesting stuff happening. Oh, I didn't catch that one. We hit the ground. It's got a bit of interesting stuff happening right at it now. The road does go through it, effectively. I mean, it goes like underneath it, but nah, it goes through it. It goes through it. Alright. But then, almost straight away, and have we got anywhere else that we're going to? There's literally nothing until Perth. Like, we could have places, but we just don't. Also, too much grass spread in that region. Yeah, I know. It's a little bit awkward because eventually the grass is going to spread everywhere. I hadn't planned it that I would have like the terrain specifically being mapped as dirt and grass. I mean, I possibly should, but you know, that's a thing that we can do after the fact. Really, this is just a memory of which parts we did last. The dirt's still here because this is the last part that was copied in, basically. So, as this comes across, right as we get past Port Hedland up here, sort of on the underneath side of things, you know, about here, we have an option. We can go that way, or we can go that way. Alright, and we have two sets of roads. The one through the center is complex. The coastal one is just basically the coastal one. So, what we might do is, again, doing my preference for south-north facing things. I'm going to run all the way down to Perth, and I'm going to connect up to those two spots. So, looking at how we come out of Perth, and these roads that are going into Perth, are basically both coming in from like the top edge here. So there's again a fork in the road. Let's add a bit of time on here. Yep. Alright, so taking the coastal one first. This has got to sort of diagonally get our way a bit closer to the coast. It's basically going to go straight up through there. And skirt pretty close as we get around to things up there. Whoops, I've dropped a pin in the ocean. That's not what I wanted. Losing my good clicking sensitivity here. Oh, now we're really losing it. drew too much attention to it. I'm too aware of it now. Continue up here for a bit. Gonna start to hook over this way. Come across a bit. Ah, that island there is a good landmark. So once we pass that, we're going to go up a bit more. Kind of like that. Alright, so just looking all the way out to sort of capture the extent of what that's done. And then looking over to my map. Yeah, I feel like that's realistic. Goes through there, touches sort of that bit, skirts in from there, touches out there. Probably could have come in a little bit more up near there. But it definitely comes in, goes up to the coast up there. And it comes across and touches right before Port Hedland there. Yeah. Okay, then we need this interior one, which is going to do some really weird stuff. Do I have Albany down here for reference? I do. That's Albany there. So Albany kind of lines up with where we start getting right over to the coast. Somewhere about here. So somewhere about here in Albany, right here. That sort of point there. I'm gonna, again, just quite arbitrarily, somewhere sort of above Albany and just about here somewhere. Hit that ground there. Okay, so just about there somewhere. So that's our first sort of target. As we come out of here, we need to make our way over to that block there. That's a kind of pivotal corner. So this is a fairly straight north bit for a bit here. Once we start to get up here, it does do a weird sort of crossways bit. Then up for like a bit. And then sort of diagonally. Oh dear. Come on. Come on, clicky fingers. Is that sort of the right scale there? Come out of there. Go across a bit. That acrossy bit needs to be way higher. this bit here that we're approaching. It's not perfect, but it sort of does something like that. And as a result of coming out to there, and this would be where things look really weird, that, which is directly above Albany, needed to have been a smidge west of Port Hedland. Interesting. Albany and Port Hedland are not in the correct vertical alignment. Albany there. Port Hedland actually up there. Have I got Port Hedland in the wrong spot? It's more realistic to be up and about here. Have I got Port Hedland in the wrong lump? Doesn't seem like it. This is the kind of large scale deviation that I'm not real keen on. It does kind of seem okay compared to all of this coastline here. That is sort of where it should be given the shape of the coastline. But then Albany can't be in the wrong spot either because of its real specific shape of the coastline, you know? So I think we're just going to have to average this a little bit again. Oh, dropped another marker in the sea. Add a bit more time back on. Not to mention all of this seems to have happened past Albany anyway. I'm going to use this as the hook instead of that bit up there. I mean, it's got to be... It does have to be happening sort of up about here. But I need to be more at this line here. So, after we've done that, going up here for a bit. So we've come out here for a bit. Yeah, we've done it before there, but that's fine. That's going to go straight up here for a bit. We can clear all that back out now. There we go. So, in terms of where we are, we've hit that corner, we've headed sort of straight up, sort of with a little bit of a lean across. By the time we're getting up to that, we want to have a slightly speedier. Yeah. So here we want to. Whoa! I thought I saw someone running towards me. Hello. Hello. Brown dye, flowers, magenta dye, more flowers, and a bucket of tropical fish. Thank you, sir. Don't need any of it right now, and you are going to get in my way, aren't you? Aren't you? As you attempt to follow me all the way out to here. This is about like as far out as I should be getting. It hooks out like this, and then it sort of goes north here for a long time, and then it's going to suddenly hook back in. Yeah, somewhere up here. Okay. I feel like that's kind of got it. Again, not perfect, but reasonable. Yeah, that is a reasonable capture of that. Like, given that I've got almost nothing in terms of actual places that I'm supposed to be going through, that's something like the shape that takes. Excellent. Kinda okay with that now. So, what we need now... Whoa! Missed that one completely. Is to focus a bit more on Perth. So Mandurah, so obviously we've got a road... excuse me. A road coming straight out of Perth running down to the south here. Yeah, the coast road. Oh. And what are we? Oops. Didn't mean to do that. What are we heading towards? Bunbury. Margaret River. So yeah, the road gets to Bunbury and then it ducks in. So we basically follow the coast, as it were. Right down to Bunbury. But then it starts to tuck in. That's gotten too far. We needed to go earlier than that. hit Albany there. Alright. So Margaret River just floats out there. Yep. And this is where we've got to place this, because we've got another one coming out of here. But we've got, what's it, Esperance there. So, dropping more pins in the ocean. It's going to be full of pins soon. So, we've got Albany there. Somewhere about here is Esperance. How does it compare with Broome? Ooh, I'm going to say straight up and down for Broome. Dropping more pins in the ocean. That's what happens when I'm not tapping anymore. So, we're up here. I do want to move it across a bit more compared to Broome, just for the sake of this coastline. So we already know there's a bit of east-west variation at the bottom of Australia compared to the top. So somewhere more over here would be where Esperance is. Yeah, kind of like here. So we're making our way up to that. Kind of stay inland for a little bit. We do actually rise above it. Yeah. Okay, so that follows the hook around to there, comes up there. That's possibly a little bit too far above, really, but good enough. And then this is going to come up to a point that's just below here, because we have a road going over to that. So the crossing that we're going to be matching against here, all this is going to be relative to, literally crosses as low on the coast as we can get, which I'm going to say is there. That sort of thing. So we're aiming to that. So relative to that, when we come out of here, this goes north and tucks in a bit. For coming out, so the place this is going to meet is actually just below Perth. So we're already here, and it's going to be just below here. So we're already sort of here. So I'll duck back in. That is going to be a connective over to there. So this road is going to rise up about up here somewhere. And then, yeah, just start gradually making its way. Needs to have gotten a little bit quicker, a little bit sooner. Back from the other way. Gonna have this awkward gap now like this. Okay. Right, that sort of thing. So that comes out of Perth, runs across there, hooks up there, comes down to there, and this bit is the bit that's going to connect over to there now. Ooh, jump scare on the music. Whew, everyone's awake now. It's tucked down there, and then we're going to have to start making our way up. Something like that. More or less. More or less. I feel like as it comes out of here, it actually needs to have gone up a tiny bit, and then down for longer, and then up more suddenly. Something like that, maybe. Let's zoom out to see what that looks like. Yep, so it kicks up, comes down. Sort of this big flat diagonal angle here is not really right, but it's a little bit closer. Okay. Which means we are down to just South Australia, and then maybe thinking about some of the other bits. And then the minor roads. So, coming into South Australia, we've got to get our way across to, let's see. So that's Port Lincoln all the way down there. It doesn't get the road. It's not the main road. That all goes through to Port Augusta at the top there. Okay, so we're targeting over here to Port Augusta. Is really what's happening. So as we come through here, we basically hug the coast for a while. We're slowly moving up away from it. Add a bit of time back on. So, continue to come across. So that's Cooperpedy there. So we're starting now kind of swoop through middle of things down here. I've just got to get down. You know, sort of as low as that. As low as there. Yeah, you know, that sort of thing. And we hang here for a bit. Like that. Okay. Yep, happy with that. That connects into there, so we don't have a road down to there, that's fine. Is this Flinders Ranges here? It's going to go up to Birdsville. Yes. That's Cooperpedy, okay. Which connects up to that one. Right, so out of here, out of Port Augusta, we've got some roads. So there's this one that goes over to Flinders Ranges that's going to come in from underneath it. Come out the other side. Make its way to Birdsville. We've got this one that's going to, let's see. So there's the border. Yeah, so it's coming out. Let's say it's coming out. Yeah, then there's the border up there with this weird diagonal line. Yeah, because that diagonal line there, that's a straight line. So by the time it gets down to here, like, you know, there it is straight. So remember here is where that's lining up to things. Yeah, so oops. As things come out of here, kind of going diagonally for a bit, and then up for a bit. Once we get above the top of that, that's when we're going to start hooking across. Till we get above. So, yep, Port Headland. Okay, and by the time we're past it, we've started to flatten out more. Alright. Feels a little bit wonky. But relative to what's going on here, come out, we bend across. That's Broken Hill there. Yeah. That's Burke up there. The bend should be below Burke, but it does look like it's up near Burke. But anyway, does the bend. And yeah, it should have a more straight drive up into Cooper Pedy than that. That bend should be a little bit sooner. Can I replicate that bend, but make it slightly sooner? Zoom out, see what that one looks like. Okay. So it's the right kind of bend. Yeah, it just happens a little bit sooner now, so we can go sort of more straight up into Cooper Pedy. Yeah. Okay. That's fair, and so from there it just makes its way up to here. Where it's gonna come out effectively on a diagonal. sort of like that. So comes out there, across a little bit, and then sort of straight up for a bit, and then across a bit, and then straight up in. Yeah, good enough. Good enough. Whoa. That was a very loud push notification vibrating the whole table there. Alright, pause for a drink. Alright, oh, would you look at that? That timing. Although, how long's that been there for? Oh, it's invisible, not publish to chat. Ah, so that could have been there for ages and no one would have seen it. Okay, that's fine. Let us ban that now. That could have been there for hours for all I know. But it was one of these ones that was already hidden from chat, so I did not see it. Disaffected burst. Alright, so now we connect Flinders Ranges up to Birdsville. Same sort of dealio. It's basically going to come out straight for most of this. As we get up to just before Cooper Pedy, it's going to kick left a little bit. It's like one of these straight, you know, Queensland roads. Come across there, we're straight and back out. Then all of a sudden, when we're level with what? I don't know. What are we even level with? Sydney? I mean, by Sydney I mean Brisbane. Forgetting where I am. Yeah, because this is Queensland. that's New South Wales there. So Queensland's to Brisbane. Yeah, so kind of when we're level with Brisbane. Yeah, we have a sudden hook across. Like that. This kind of thing. Yeah, that's looking good. So we come up out of Flinders Ranges. It's got a little bit of a hook left. Could be sharper than that. Like, that's a little bit gradual. But it is a bit of a hook left and comes back. Could have been sooner than that. And sharper. And then when it comes back, it stays up there for a bit longer. Then it does that wiggle and comes back around. So could I make that sooner and sharper before it recovers? Whoa, that's not right. one there. Okay, let's see how that tracks. Yeah, that's a little bit nicer. So it's a more sort of sudden boop, and then it comes out and up and around and that. Perfect. Okay, so that captures that. So then Port Adelaide, not Port Adelaide, Port Augustus, Caesar Augustus, Port Augusta, there we go, makes its way down to Adelaide here, or probably more accurately, we're going to make Adelaide make its way back up to Port Augusta. So Adelaide's got some roads and things coming out the top here. There we go. So that does that. But this one comes out the top as well, but shoots, knocking the mic, but shoots up and around a broken hill. That sort of thing like that. Yep, that seems pretty reasonable. That's a nice arc that sort of continues through there. Alright. Then we've got border issues here. So in this same territory of roads, we've got some real creative stuff here, because this is Mildura. Yep. Which is above Adelaide. Alright. Mildura is more north than Adelaide, despite them being on the same Z level here. Because the road that comes out of Adelaide needs to curve up and get to Mildura. So we're going to have to do some real creative stuff here. Like, have this other road literally leave the wrong part of Adelaide. Here. And have it follow like the arc of the Earth's curvature or something. Something like that. Do a nice diagonal cross in there. Bam. a road that takes us into Mildura that should have been below it the whole time, despite curling above it. I don't even want it to go that high. I'm gonna graduate that a bit more. There we go. Even better. Vroom. Oh, and there comes the rain. Alright. So, what do we got down here that we're just teasing? Mount Barker, Victor Harbour. So, yes, we need a road through Mount Barker, effectively. And we need a road down to Victor Harbour. Alright, raining and nighttime. So, coming out of Adelaide, we've got that. Coming out of Adelaide this way, we've got a road that goes through Mount Barker that's going to ultimately make its way down to a point where it can split for these two. So maybe I start down here at Mount Gambier and work my way back up. So we've got a crossing here. So Mount Gambier, we're basically going straight north out of here. Sort of like that. And then they join. Once they've joined, we just got to make our way up to here. That sort of thing. Okay, again, not perfect, but sort of does the job. This could kind of go across a bit more and then speed up. So if I did it more from this end, that sort of thing. How does that fit? That's a little bit better. Comes out of there before coming down and splitting into these two. Okay, and that's connected to that. And with that, did we just complete all of the major roads through Australia? Don't look at Tasmania. Or I guess New Zealand. We probably should do something in New Zealand if we're going to do something in Tasmania. But look at that. Whoop, there's the cloud level. There we are. I'm going to have to toggle that rainfall just because that's obscuring things a little bit. But looking pretty reasonable. We've got a lot of sort of interesting and intricate sort of connections and bits of roads and things there, and sort of how they all connect together. We can certainly go in, and if we did some like really like minor roads, these being the major roads now, if we did some like really minor roads connecting some bits out, we'd need a color that is visibly different in contrast compared to sort of the darkness of this dark concrete. Like we'd need like a lighter grey color. So like this grey concrete powder, maybe even light grey concrete powder, depending on how close it gets to white concrete. Just so that at this level we could see the difference without looking too much like a town, but so that it's not quite as dark as the major roads. We probably should put some major roads down in Hobart, given how many cities we've got there, and I guess New Zealand. And then we might maybe think about some minor stuff without going super crazy, just to kind of fill out the sort of arid section over here, and maybe a little bit of connectives in there. So let's come down here. Let's sort of poise ourselves down here near Hobart. Let's go to map of Tassie. Okay, so that sort of zoom level shows us where our major roads are, just zooming in and out on the map. And sort of to about here. So Port Arthur does have a windy road that comes out of it that snakes around to Hobart. Hobart does have a road that comes out of it down here. Not there, it's actually there. Kind of leads to nowhere. And then out at the top of Hobart, we've got some sort of a road that comes out here. Heads over here. So that's Launceston there. Sort of does that, sort of comes into Launceston. Hobart's got the road coming out of it here. One's going to go up to Devonport. It's a real sort of complicated web of roads here. Just something like that. One that effectively runs up there to Devonport. It does duck across to Launceston. Like that. So this one that comes out here does diverge somewhere. Oh, that's the wrong one. We already had the weather clear. Something like that. Then coming out of Launceston, we've got that. So the road up to Georgetown. Launceston there, Devonport, Stanley. So we've got another windier road coming just off here. So Stanley's up there. So this road that comes out here Devonport's got a coastal road coming out of it. And this road that's come around and hooked out, doing that. Okay, that's basically Tasmania. Whoop, falling back into it. Just trying to see it compared to other things. So now I can zoom out of it. Yep, so when all these other roads up in Victoria and stuff pop into view, well, those pop into view in Tasmania. Yeah. Yeah, it's not quite right in parts. It's a little bit funny here and there. Like, notably this, it's going to be hard to point this out. Move around. This little bit in here, this kind of region just in here, right there. That's kind of like this little internal triangle there. That's the wrong shape. But I don't know a good way to fix that. it's just such a small resolution of blocks to work with. It's averaging out a little bit poorly, but that's okay. It's decent. Okay, so with that, question now is, what's New Zealand even up to? Is there anything to do over here? Let me have a look. Map. New Zealand. Okay. What roads just popped in there? So from Wellington, we've got a variety of things happening here. Let's have a look. Yeah, okay. So, from Wellington, we've got like this... Whoop, that's going to be dangerous. We've got like this coastal road. That's going to run up here. Across here. Like that. Okay, so we've got that. Now, relative to that, there's a bunch of other things that are taking place. So, for example, there's coming out of here a bit that kind of just comes up here and reconnects. Up there somewhere. And there's a bit that's further back down. Up like here, but also like down here. That just kind of peters off there. But this bit kind of runs parallel to this for a good while and reconnects higher up. Something like that. Again, not perfect, but kind of does the job. Then coming out of here, in addition to this one that's following the coast, there's one that comes out a bit more this way. Doesn't quite connect to that one, which I will just check because it looks very suspicious. No, it doesn't actually connect to that one. Like there's some lighter coloured roads in there that would, but on the main roads it doesn't. This has to follow further up here now, and as it comes around this bend here, it's like touching the coast here. Part of it rejoins up here. Sort of like that. Again, it's all like the wrong shape because of the map projection. But that's kind of where that goes. And coming out of Auckland, at the top, we've got this road coming in. This nice straight road. That's doing that. Okay. That's all the northern stuff. Southern stuff has a lot less going on, especially when you realise that half of it's not there. So, looking at what it has. Okay, yeah. Okay. So from Christchurch, we've got the coastal road. follow the coast again. Down that side. We've got just above things here. That connects into there. Real question is, where's this cut off at? I reckon it's cut off about there. Okay. So again, semi-arbitrarily, let's put that there. Let's say we've got that going along. And this is effectively the coastal road. Okay. Through there. But this has also got joining into it another northern road. So we've got this bit of coastal road now coming from this way. But it contacts in with this bit, which is going to make its way up here a little bit back from the coast. That side of Christchurch. Okay. That's the southern part. This is Queenstown sort of happening about here. Dunedin's just down there. Right. Well, I reckon we might be in a position to start to call this. Oh, slightly too high. Let's get ourselves into a good sort of screenshotting position. So I reckon we're basically there. More or less, something like that. That would be a good spot there. Let me get ourselves ready. What are we at? Okay, so in there somewhere, that's our screenshot. Okay. Let me put in the chat thumbnail. There we go. Alright, so I know what time to be looking at for that. So, oh, I've got the banner at the top. Oh, let's take that off. Okay. And of course, yeah, now that I look at the overlay and everything, yeah, New Zealand's like covered up by the Overthunk banner. Yeah. That's a shame. So you can't see New Zealand. I guess we could move across. Like, we could do that. It's a little bit offset. I don't know if I like how far to the side Australia is. Yeah, it doesn't really make for a well-rounded picture. That's probably fine there. Okay. Let's do that. And let me get a timestamp again. And let me again. Alright. Thumbnail take 2. Alright. So around about there. Okay. Then let me put the overlay back on. Because what are we gonna do? Where is it? So place down some of the major roads and highways. So next objective will be place down some of the minor connecting roads. So that's what we're after next time. That's our updated objective now. For next time is going to be place down some of the minor connecting roads, of which there shouldn't be too many. I hope there's not going to be a lot. I just want a couple of things that are obviously that are getting out to there, a few of the minor ones happening out here, and some other little ones that are sort of connecting into Western Australia and around here. So there's a couple of minor ones here and there. Like there's a few isolated towns that need to get connected by their minor road. Just added a tiny bit more detail into the already heavily connected zone in there. That will definitely not take us all of next session, which hopefully will be next week. Hopefully we can pull 2 weeks in a row of streams. Don't hold your breaths. We'll see what we can do. We might be able to actually stream 2 weeks in a row. Wouldn't that be amazing? So if we can get back to this next week, we'll get in some of the minor connectives, and then once we got those in, I want to be able to officially declare Australia to be done. There's a lot of other things we could do, like yes, we could be doing terrain stuff, yes, we could be going in and putting in inland water, rivers, lakes, things like that. I'm not sure that I necessarily want to commit to that, because again, scale is going to be really weird. Like it's already a little bit weird putting in the roads, because of course each of these roads are now 10 kilometers thick by the scale. So trying to put in like a single lake that might be just like a couple of blocks of water and stuff like that, it's gonna look weirdly proportioned against like the road network and all sorts of things. So yeah, I don't know that I want to do that sort of stuff. But yep, next time we should hopefully pretty quickly finish off some of the minor connectives, and then we move into phase 2. This large scale map of Australia and everything. And it's hard to believe this was the plan so long ago. I think at the end of last year when we started doing all of this very optimistically, this was only phase 1 of the project. There is actually more to be done after we've got this done, and that will temporarily involve a little bit of redstone and a little bit of other just creative building and stuff before we get on to some more realism. But yeah, we'll tap into a bit of that next time, hopefully. I'll have to make a bit of plan and sort of set aside some things for that next time, I reckon. But for now, I reckon let's call that there, and let's say thank you to everyone for watching. This has been another stream to be Overthunk by Sharky. It's good to be back again after such a long break, and hopefully we'll catch you all again in the next one. Bye bye.